interview to talk about your vegan world tours. Tell us a bit more about you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Natasha. Yes, so I'm one of the co-founders of Well Vegan Travel, and we create pretty unique experiences for travelers. So we create high-end vegan group tours for the vegans and vegan curious. And we've been going for a couple of years now, and we've had trips to some very interesting places, including Thailand, Vietnam, France, and we just finished 2 trips to Rwanda. So our trips are generally sort of slightly higher end, and obviously most of the people that come on the trips are vegans. So people really have a really good sense of community, and they make new friends, as well as having a safe space where they can just totally be themselves and see have amazing experience, like seeing gorillas and chimpanzees, or meeting incredible activists in the countries that they go to.
So you're also meeting some local people, local activists in the vegan sphere each time you go on a tour, yeah?
We try our best to facilitate that. Last time in Rwanda, we met with some gorilla doctors. We met some people that were trying to pass the first, like, some laws to protect animals in Rwanda, some people that were the first in the country to sort of make tofu and seitan and non-dairy milks. And, you know, it's just so exciting to meet these kinds of people. They're really doing some interesting work.
Yeah, that's really like. And in Rwanda, how is the vegan? Yeah, like, is there a lot of vegan restaurants, a lot of vegan people? Like, because of course it's like a lot of mainstream right now in Europe, in Australia, in the US. But how is it in Rwanda?
Okay, so I went there a couple of years ago, just as a regular tourist, and it was okay. You know, there was never any danger of, you know, going hungry. Most of the time you're eating in the hotels, and they'll have buffets, and you can let them know, and they will cook something for you. Absolutely, you know, you're not going to go hungry at all, but it's not particularly exciting, I would say, the food. So one of the things that we do is, because our clients deserve the best, we work with the hotels or the restaurants for up to 6 months before the start of the trip. And it's really kind of cool because, you know, when they know that there's going to be 31 people staying in a hotel, they are much more inclined to go to extra efforts than they would if it was just 1 or 2 people. So you know, I work very, very closely with them for the 6 months leading up to it, and I have to say they just embrace the challenge. They can't get a lot of the ingredients that would be very easy for us to get, but they just did such a great job. They really tried their best, and we didn't stay at a single vegan restaurant. There's 1 or 2 vegetarian restaurants in the capital, and of course various ethnic cuisines like Indian food. It's easy to find that, but you know, restaurants and hotels really did a fantastic job. And we also work closely with a local tour operating company. You know, of course, they're so kind and so respectful of us. But, you know, we talk to them ahead of the time and say, you know, please don't say that you're going to go out and, and eat animals that night at dinner, or, you know, just try to be mindful of this kind of thing, because our clients, they're really on holiday. They want to have a break from being a vegan in a non-vegan world. So we really try to sort of limit that as much as possible. And while this isn't an issue in Rwanda, we'll really try to ask the hotels and restaurants to take out any overt sort of animal products, whether it's this doesn't happen in Rwanda, but it does happen in France, like a deer's head stuck on the wall, or you know, an overt leather couch or something like that. And they're usually very keen to help us with that. So the guides and the drivers are always so respectful, and they always try not to sort of delve into the, you know, the animal agricultural part of that. I mean, of course, we know that it exists, but we just want to have a little bit of a holiday from that. And yeah, and it's always really interesting after the trip is over, we'll write an email to the hotels and just ask them how they felt the experience was. Have they changed their mind about veganism? What's their next steps in this area? And, you know, they're really, really positive about the whole thing. They really feel like they've been pushed to do something that's little, you know, maybe it was a little bit scary for them, but no one had ever pushed them until this moment. And now they have these amazing new skills and potential ways to market themselves. So, you know, it's really cool. It's really exciting to be part of that restaurant and hotel outreach.
Yeah, it's great because like you're organizing the tours, so for the guests, but at the same time, you're kind of helping the like the hospitality industry to adapt more and more and to know, because yeah, I get it, like people are afraid, what can I do for vegans? They feel like, it's very difficult, and then you give them like simple solutions that they can adapt, and then like probably they will be able to reply better to each demand which is coming. And when people, because that's what I say to travelers when they say, like, you should say it from the beginning for Airbnbs, for instance, as well. Like, say that you're vegan, and usually you have a nice surprise that when you arrive, people will like prepare something special for you.
Yeah, people, if you set, a friend of mine, my friend Colleen Patrick Goudreau, she says, you know, if you set the bar high, people will try to reach it. If you set it really low, they're only going to try to reach that. So, you know, I think asking for what you want and being kind but assertive is beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. And what made you start with the idea of organizing those vegan tours?
Sure. So both my partner Seb and I, we actually met when we were both tour leaders for an adventure travel company in 2005. I don't know whether you're aware of Intrepid Travel. They sort of focus on sort of small groups, more adventurous, local, cultural, using public transportation kind of tours. And we actually met in Morocco. And I had been tour leading for 5 years by that time, so I was ready for a bit of a break, and we met and fell in love, and we decided to sort of move out of the tourism industry for a while. And about six years ago, I'd say, I was doing some volunteer work for Colleen Patrick Goudreau, and those people that don't know, she's absolutely amazing podcaster, and she was actually the person that inspired me to go vegan 10 years ago through her incredible podcast that I just stumbled upon. And I just loved her work so much. I was just listening to it again and again and again, the episodes, because the ideas in them were just so profound for me. And when she asked if there was anyone who could help her with some communication that she needed, I put my hand up. And of course, I knew her work so well, so it was very easy for me to sort of reply on behalf of her, not saying I was her, but just saying I'm replying to your email on behalf of Colleen. So we sort of got to know each other a little bit, and then we met, and we actually got on like a house on fire. And the four of us, me, Seb and I, and Colleen and her husband David, we actually became travel buddies, and we were actually traveling to some really fun locations together. And we actually went to Africa together. We've been to Germany together. We've just done some really nice things. And Seb, my partner, who also, since tourism, he's actually been involved in TV production and logistics. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of parallels there between tour planning and logistics, TV logistics. So he suggested to Colleen, why don't you see if your followers and fans would be interested in coming to Thailand to go on a trip. So we're so grateful that she trusted us with that, because you know it's a big deal to put your name behind something like this. And we were so thrilled that that trip sold out to Thailand. It was fantastic. And we've had a trip to Vietnam since then as well, and a Christmas trip to France, Paris and Alsace. And we've just had 2 trips to Rwanda, like I said, and we've got more trips coming up, but we're also working with other influencers too. I don't know whether some of your audience will be familiar with JL Fields. She is a cookbook writer. She's really lovely person, and there are a couple of other influencers in the pipeline as well. We hope those will come to pass as well, and we're also looking to sort of sell our own trips as well, so that you know, you don't necessarily come on a trip with an influencer, you just come on with us.
Well, because right now you have built already your brand and you're also an influencer in this world, so
I wouldn't say that, but not many people know about us yet, but yes, we're here, we're trying.
And tell us about the next trip. So you mentioned France, you mentioned Thailand, also you told me before about Botswana, so tell us a bit more.
Yes, it's so exciting. So we're actually leaving next week for the trip with JL Fields. That is to Paris and Alsace. And that's going to be really nice because it's going to be during the vendange, like the harvesting of the grapes in September, which is always such a nice time to go to France. And then we have a very similar trip with Colleen Patrick Goudreau, but more Christmas themed. Those are coming up, but those trips are sold out, both of those France trips. But we do have a couple of trips next summer with Colleen Patrick Goudreau again to Provence and the Dordogne. Now, you as a French person, I think you probably know they're not the most vegan friendly of places going to restaurants and hotels, right?
Yeah, but I think in France right now, honestly, it's becoming more and more. In fact, I turned vegan when I was on a tour with a customer around France, but it was north of France. It was also Alsace. And yeah, we had like amazing restaurants, because the great thing when you're vegan and you're going to a restaurant, at least in Europe, you have like all those restaurants. It's not only they are vegan, but they will use organic food. They will really take care of the food that they put in the plate. So you have amazing dish, and for 1 week it was perfect. But south of France, south of France, I think it's also nice. We use a lot of olive oils, so a lot of fruit and vegetables. So I think they will have a very nice time.
Yeah, we'll work together, I'm sure. And you know, chefs, they love to be creative and put their ideas forward as well. It's really nice. But the Dordogne, the home of foie gras and magret du canard, I think that might be a little bit more of a challenge. But you know, we've already spoken to hotels and they're totally up for it. They're totally up for trying it out. So that's cool. So we've got 2 trips with Colleen, and you know, you don't have to know or follow Colleen to come on those trips at all, but it's she's such an inspirational person that it's always so nice to come with her as well. And then we have a Botswana Cape Town trip, which is happening between 2020 and 2021 over New Year's. And that's going to be really nice, staying in 2 beautiful 5-star luxury camps in Botswana, and also visiting a farm sanctuary and a sort of a wine area just outside of Cape Town, and a little town called Greyton as well. So beautiful places. We've got that, and then we've got a Thailand trip in October 2020 as well, which is a very similar itinerary to one we did a couple of years ago. And that's all we've got on our website for now, but we hope to have more soon.
Great. And the people who are coming, what do they say after the trip? What are their big joys?
Okay, so we always try to get feedback from our clients afterwards to, you know, find out what went well and what could be done better. And I think even though people love the hotels and they love the animals that they see and they love the activities and they love the food, all of those things, what comes out time and time again is meeting these incredible people.
Mhm.
I.e., you know, the fellow travelers. A lot of the people that come on the trip, they might be the only vegan in their town. They might be, maybe they work in animal advocacy and they're just exhausted. And this is truly a space for them to be completely safe and not have to sort of worry about anything, not worry about the food, not worry about what they might say could upset someone, or seeing something upsetting. Those are the themes that sort of come up. In fact, in our last trip to Rwanda, we had one of our travelers and his wife, both of them, they booked for Botswana, and that was their 5th trip with us. So, you know, they must kind of like this style of travel. So it's really nice. And some people there, and I used to be a little bit like this, you know, I used to think that group travel wasn't for me. And if you did group travel, then you know, you couldn't travel by yourself. And that's I don't believe that anymore. I think it's perfect if you've got a really limited amount of time and you just don't want to make any decisions because you're on holiday and you just want to relax and have fun. So yeah, that's sort of what our travelers say. Really, it's the theme of community and lifelong friendships that really come out of this. And we've had some of our travelers as well. They've actually planned to come on trips together as a group of 6 or 7 people, and then they go and travel together. They've been together in Mexico, they won't travel together in California, and you know, they become really good friends. So that's always so lovely.
Yeah, no, that's definitely great to meet people and also not to have those same question over and over again. Why did you turn vegan? But you know about this and this, the question we have all the time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And because some people are coming to me and they say like, okay, I'm vegan, and do you think going like for something which is only for the vegan market, is it restrictive? So what would you say to the people who want to do something only for the vegan niche? Or do you think it's worth it?
I think so. I mean, there are a lot of vegan companies being very successful, and I think it's just going to be a growing industry. For example, there are travel companies now that are not vegan, that are actually selling vegan tours, which is great. I think there is enough space. I think it's just going to become more and more appealing for so many people. So I think having a niche is a really good idea.
Yeah, and at the end you meet people that you love meeting, and it's really like, as you say, like fellows and this kind of communities. That's nice. Yes. And how
Yeah.
did you promote? So you said that you work with a few influencers. If someone is starting for the vegan niche, how could they promote? What are your advice on this?
Okay. Well, that's something I'm still figuring out. So I don't know whether I can be a huge amount of wisdom in this area. I guess just, you know, really be very, very clear on what your ideal customer avatar is. Like, who is the person that you are really trying to attract? And then what is their pain point? What is the thing that they're struggling with? And really dig deep in there. And there's lots of resources online to sort of help guide you through that process. And then once you really understand who your ideal customer avatar is, then you can start speaking to them, like through your words, through video, through blog posts, all of those kinds of things. So I think, and that took me quite a while to figure out. But now I think we're much closer to that, and we're able to really speak to the challenges that it is as someone who loves to travel and has just turned vegan, or a vegan that maybe has not traveled much before. and would like to do it in a caring, supportive environment. So I guess that would be my tip, is to just be really clear on who you're trying to help and what are the problems that they have, and then try to address them.
Okay, nice. And what are, if there is like one mistake that you did and that you could help others not do, what would it be?
Oh, crikey, a mistake. I'm sure there have been so many. I think I would have tried to get help earlier. So honestly, even though I know a lot about running tours to a very high standard, and I know a little bit about social media, long-term marketing is something that really is a challenge for me. And I have been using the services of a vegan business coach to help me with that. And because marketing is a big, huge thing that, it's not just throwing a couple of posts on social media and hoping they gain traction. There's a whole big thing here. And I think using the services of a coach, or whether it's vegan or not, can really help you bring things to the next level. And I think it's an investment that will make things, the snowball effect will happen much more quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And also because I have a business coach, and knowing where, you feel a bit, we all have those moments, sometimes we are feeling great, that's great, but sometimes we are feeling like, okay, where should I go? And even if probably you know the answer, but it's somewhere in your head, that's when someone is guiding you and feeling less overwhelmed, then it's easier to get there. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
So so tell, to end, tell us again about the next trips that you're planning, which are not sold out, and how can people contact you?
Sure, thank you so much. Okay, so the next trips that we have are to the Dordogne and Provence in France, which are beautiful regions of France. They're absolutely beautiful, and if anyone listening is really interested in those, I think you need to check them out, because they're only going to be available for another few weeks. So if you're interested in those, you need to check those out. We do have payment plans for people who, maybe don't have all of the money right away. Like, you don't have to pay all of the money right away. And we also have Botswana in New Year's 2020 to 2021. And we also have Thailand in October 2020. And we will probably have some more trips that we'll put up soon for 2020 and 2021. Mm-hmm. You can find us at wellvegantravel.com. Also on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn as well, which is how I connected with Natasha. Thank you so much. And if you sign up for our mailing list, then of course you get first dibs on trips that are being released. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Perfect, because usually it's better that they sign up for your newsletter, right? Because usually they are sold out quite quickly, your trips. People are coming back, so they know about you. And
yes, that's correct.
Perfect. Anyway, I will put the links in the post with the video, so that people will have all those links. And usually, how many people are in the group, so that people can have an idea?
Of course. Our trips are usually between about 18 and 25. That's generally, we don't like to go much more than that. And sometimes they will be a bit lower, but we're always sort of aiming for about 18 through to 25 or so.
Okay, and people are coming alone, or as a family, or as a couple?
Yes, so most of the time we will have couples. We will have single travelers. We do, for most of the time, our rooms do have a single supplement option. So you could either share with someone who's a partner of the same gender, mm-hmm. or as a couple. We have had some families, like a mum and dad and their two teenage children. Then we've also had like mother-daughter, which has been really lovely, and childhood friends. They've come together, so it's really, really lovely. All sorts of different kinds of relationships come on our trips. It's really, really sweet.
Okay, so anyone, if you're single, you can join. If you're a couple or a couple of friends or mother-daughter, I'm sure I will come one day with my daughter.
I hope so. That would be amazing.
So yeah, perfect. I will put all the contact details, and if you're listening, and if you want to join for the friends trip, be sure to contact soon, because it will be out very soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.